suspect in that gore point for the off-ramp. Here's 710, right about 3rd Street in East Los That's right. Yeah, running into that traffic there, just driving like normal as if nothing had happened. That air unit's still overhead. The driver is aware that we are here, that's for sure, and aware that the airship's there as well, looking out their window just moments ago. But no ground units behind this vehicle, but that air unit is still tracking from above, making those call-outs to agencies in the area to see if any of them will take over the pursuit as we continue here, making that move into that number 2 lane there, a little assertive there, kind of cutting off that black car that was behind it, but just sitting in this northbound 710 traffic as we come up to the 60 here, it's a little strange not having those black and whites behind it, but this could be a strategy that they're using to try to get this driver to stop or pull over and get out of the vehicle so that they can apprehend the suspect at a later time. But with that that air unit overhead, the suspect's not going to get away. That's for sure. That air unit is keeping eyes on him just like we are. Still making those call outs. I'm hearing them on the different scanners, and they're just they're monitoring the situation. CHP is still monitoring the situation as well, and sometimes it just takes a few minutes as well to get those units into the area. They could be working on other calls or other incidences in the area, but sitting in this traffic here, going about 10 miles an hour, which even on surface streets wasn't uncommon. The suspect was driving pretty slowly, even though he was erratic at moments. But we're just going to continue this now back into the area of Monterey Park. You can see that shadow of that air unit go over every once in a while. They're holding a little higher of an altitude, but keeping that, but still calling out to those ground units on the ground. And that's the name of the game nowadays with the pursuits, is having that air unit overhead takes a lot of the stress off the officers on the ground so they can back away and hopefully get the driver to drive a little safer, and that air unit can stay overhead and keep an eye on them and call out anything that may be occurring to both the officers on the ground as well as those dispatchers and the command staff as well, who are making decisions on what's next for the pursuit. So getting another agency involved, deciding if they're going to use a spike strip or or something like a pit maneuver to bring this to an end. That pit maneuver is not really the best option at this point, even if there were officers behind the vehicle, just due to the speeds. But it is something that those supervisors and those command staff are considering at all times and trying to find the perfect moment to use those tactics to bring this to a successful and a peaceful end without harming any of the public in the area. But luckily in this case, Glenn and Lou, the driver is driving fairly normally, not putting many lives at risk. However, the police department still has a want out for this suspect for unknown reasons. At this time, we're still trying to figure out why they went in pursuit with this vehicle. So they're still monitoring this and still wanting to apprehend this suspect when they get the chance. That's not. I haven't heard anything, and just looking through that driver window there, it looks like there might be some items in that passenger seat, but I don't see anyone in there or any movement. So quite possibly just the driver at this time. And from when we first heard this pursuit, we didn't hear of anyone get out of the vehicle or anything of that nature. So quite possibly just the driver in there, and that's who they are looking to apprehend at this point. Okay. That's right. So yeah, it's a little strange in that sense. Maybe the suspect is trying to see if maybe any officers will come up on that suspect. Maybe they have a decision to make up here as we get near this interchange of which freeway to go to. But right now, it even sounds like the air unit is breaking off from this pursuit. They're no longer going to be following this from above. So maybe the officers on the ground with the decisions of their command staff decided, hey, we maybe know where this license plate comes back to, and we can just get this suspect at a later time, and then let this suspect drive on their way for now, and not put any more of the public at risk. So right now, no units behind the vehicle, and the air unit's actually pulling off as well. So we'll have to see what happens as this continues into the afternoon. Yeah, that's right, and I'm not hearing it on the scanner. Point. They don't want to put people in harm's way, especially on the freeways. We can get up to some high speeds if it continues on the freeway. And so at this point, they're just going to step back and then look to apprehend this suspect or get this vehicle back at a different time when it's safer to do so. It is a BMW SUV. I'm not sure of the exact make or the exact model of it, but these vehicles, even though they are SUVs, they do have some power to them. So that is something that they do keep in mind when they're checking on the validity of a pursuit or how long they want to continue it, is what danger that the vehicle itself can put the public in. And a vehicle like this, we're already up to 80 miles an hour, and it looks like nothing right now on the freeway. But that can be very dangerous in the wrong circumstances. So that's even another consideration that the watch commanders and different supervisors have to make is this performance vehicle, a BMW, worth pursuing right now? The suspect's going to be coming up on some traffic here as we continue westbound on the 10 freeway, getting more into the East LA area. So we'll have to see what happens here. Slamming on the brakes there, having to weave around that white car, following this truck now. But still no air unit overhead, no ground units right behind. But the CHP is aware of this vehicle and might be keeping an eye out for them. They do use interagency communication methods to communicate with different agencies. Montebello can hand off to the CHP. The CHP can hand off to other agencies in the area. Looks like we're under this overpass now, so we'll have to see what happens when the suspect pops out. But it looks like that suspect's just holding into that traffic there, right behind this white pickup. And there it is. And we'll try to get a better shot inside that windshield for you. And it looks like we were talking about, Glenn and Lou, just the driver in there. I don't see a passenger, and it doesn't look like there's anyone in that back seat as well. So this driver's just taking a stroll now through into the East LA, almost downtown area, and we'll have to just see where this goes as the afternoon progresses. But the great thing is that here in Sky 5, we have that ability to follow from above and not lose the suspect no matter where he goes due to our vantage point. So we'll continue to follow it for you guys and definitely bring you the latest as it becomes available as we follow this vehicle and this pursuit. Thanks. That Oh, definitely. There are multiple airships over this. At one point, there was at least 5. So that can bring the eyes of many people on the ground. I know I've seen the helicopters on the ground. And you always wonder what's going on. And if you're in a pursuit, you're bound to know that it's because of you. So the suspect is aware that there are helicopters overhead. And the suspect seems a little bit distracted at points, kind of veering into other lanes, almost hitting that car earlier, like you were saying, Glenn. So still, while it isn't a pursuit at this point, it is still dangerous having the suspect on the road just due to their distracted nature. Now, the assignment desk just gave me an update. They're doing a lot of work trying to find out what's going on for us here in Sky 5. And we don't know still the want, but Montebello was that main agency in the pursuit. They tried to hand it off to the CHP when it got on the freeway. However, the CHP decided not to take on the pursuit due to some nature of it. We're not sure of the reason exactly why they decided not to pursue this vehicle, but that's why we're not seeing any units behind the vehicle at this time, is that the CHP wouldn't take it over. So it's possible as we get into other jurisdictions, right now being in LA County, and as we make our way more towards LA City, if one of those other jurisdictions want to take it over, if it gets on side streets, that is a possible. Can we move a little more west, David? And it's possible that we could see another agency take over. However, at this point, there's no one pursuing the vehicle at this time. And it seems like this driver is just trying to figure out what to do, who's following them, if they're still being followed by the police, and then what's the next step is. Kind of trying to stop under those overpasses as we've seen, riding in that emergency lane now, which is very dangerous as there might be a stopped car ahead. There's also a lot of debris that hangs out in those emergency lanes from getting kicked off of the roadway by those driving cars. So that could cause some damage to this vehicle as well as others as it goes down that emergency lane. But now back into that number 3 lane as we continue here on the 10 freeway, going through about Mission. Speeding up again, going from that slow traffic for apparently no reason up into the 60s now, making our way into the downtown area, coming up on, well, we're coming up near the Union Station area, so we are getting into the more downtown proper as we continue here on the 10 freeway. About 45 minutes now on the 101 northbound at about Alameda, making our way into downtown. The driver's still sticking on that number 4 lane, kind of moving with the ebbs and flows of traffic, every once in a while veering off or so. But this is what we've been seeing for the last 10, 15 minutes or so, Glenn and Lou, just sticking with those freeway speeds, every once in a while doing something a little strange. But the driver doesn't seem to to mind driving wherever they're deciding to go. Right now, it looks like we're going to possibly stop under this overpass. Nope, it looks like we're going to be getting off here. And this is just right by Union Station, so we'll have to see what happens as this pursuit continues. But now off the freeways again, back into the jurisdiction of not the CHP. We're now into the LAPD jurisdiction, so we'll have to see if anything happens. But right now, with no airship overhead, the police, unless they're following a feed like us, they probably don't know where this vehicle is or what it's wanted for. So the only time we would probably see a vehicle get involved, I'm not hearing them on the CHP talk about this vehicle, is if the driver decides to break a traffic rule or something in front of an officer, causing them to try to pull over the vehicle again. But right now, we're just continuing here, just paralleling the 101, and it looks like we're going to be turning northbound on Main Street, working our way now even farther away from the freeway, still very low rates of speed. And now this driver, we were talking earlier about how they are definitely aware of the air coverage overhead, might even just be trying to get away from us right now, and not knowing who we are or what we're doing. Helicopter in the air following a vehicle, most people just automatically assume it's the police department. So it's possible that that's a part of the situation right now, and they're just trying to even just see when we decide to take off from this. But we're still following it now. The driver's still driving pretty erratically into that turn pocket there, Main Street. And about Alameda, and we see pedestrians in the roadway, red light. Good stopping for the red light here. That's something we didn't see earlier when the vehicle was on these surface streets. The vehicle was running stop signs, running red lights, wrong side of the road at times. But right now it looks like very low rates of speed, only about 20 miles an hour. That passenger window down now. Still not seeing any passengers in the vehicle as we continue now on Alameda at Cesar Chavez Avenue. That's right, and that is the good news, Lou, is that the driver is following those traffic laws and driving relatively safely, because that's one of the things when these pursuits get on these service streets, or even when they aren't pursuits and we just have erratic driving, is it puts a lot of people at risk. It puts other drivers, it puts other people riding buses, for instance, puts the pedestrians at risk of injury if these drivers start out driving their talent, as some call it, as these vehicles are very powerful vehicles, and we will continue to follow this as this becomes more information becomes available. For now, I'll send it back down to you in the studio. Yeah.